In this last demo, I'll show you how you can dynamically load videos into the video element. And again, the same thing will work for audio, but I just chose to use video here within this sample. Now, the key thing to remember when you're implementing functionality like this is that there are multiple sources usually given to the media element. So in this case, there's 3 different source elements that are applied to the video element in order to have that fallback support for different browsers. So as you can see in the markup, there's the video element, and then there's each one of the source elements that either point to video 1 or another video. Now I've added in some data attributes. Data first file points to the name of the first video file to show. Data second file is the file name of the second file to show. So this is left extensionless because, as you can see down in the source elements, the name will just be replaced as the video plays. Here, let's run the video and you can see it in action. So here it plays the video. It's about 5 seconds long. When it gets to the end, it fades out and brings in video 2. So this could be something that you might want to use perhaps for showing ads in front of videos or whatever use you may have within your application. So the first area of concern in order to implement functionality like this is to handle the play and ended events off of the video element. So to begin, I'll create a reference to the video element on the page and set it aside into the $video variable. Then from there, I'll handle the play event. So as the video begins to play, if it's not visible, then it will fade it in. Now, in order to give this just a little bit better aesthetic, what's happening is as the first video ends, it's fading out so the second video can fade in. That way there's not a jarring flash happen between the 2 videos. So most of the logic is implemented in the ended event. So when this event fires, one of the first things I need to do is get a reference to the raw video element. The $video is the jQuery reference to that element. The variable named video is just the plain DOM element. Then what I need to do is edit the source attributes of each of the source elements inside that video. So each one of the links to the supported videos needs to be updated, and I can do that by accessing the parent video element and then selecting the sources. Then I'll also set aside the name of the first file and the name of the second file. So now with those in hand, I can loop through each one of the source elements within the video. Now, like I've shown you in the past, aliasing the for each function is a great way to iterate over the node list collection. And so that's what I'll be doing down here. But before I do that, what I need to do is take a look at the existing links within the sources to see if the source element is pointing to the first file or not. So here I can look at the first item within the sources, take a look at the source attribute, and look to see if there's a reference to the new file name. If it's not there, then I know it's pointing to the first file, and then I can load the second file. So if the new file name isn't there, then I can go through each one of the sources and update the source attribute of the source element, or the SRC attribute of the source element, and replace the old file name for the new file name. Using this approach is careful to keep the existing extensions. So by just replacing the file name, the file extensions of MP4 and OGV and WebM remain intact. The other consideration for doing the search and replace is not just the file extension, but the browser will look at the source attribute of the source element through the fully qualified URL for that media. So by doing a search and replace of just the file name, the entire URL and extension remains intact, just changing the file name. So once that's done, I fade out the video element, and then I need to call video.load. Now this is important because since I changed the source to the video element, it needs to know now that it needs to load the source file, and it'll figure out which one it needs to load. But by calling .load, it'll begin that action of retrieving data so it can begin playing the media. After calling load, I give it the command of video.play, and then the video begins to play at that point. So since the video element has faded out here, now when the play event fires, when it looks to see whether or not the video is visible, it won't be visible, so then it will fade in and continue to play at that point.